All right, so everybody wants to know about like what happens if I get this on the final. So let's just say this person's sitting at a 92, and they get something like a 0 on the final. Now this is going to affect different people in different ways, depending on how they scored in different categories. So we see a drop to about 81 or a little bit more than about 10%. It's usually the way finals work. Again, they're about 10% of the grade. Doesn't mean that they move your grade up or down by 10%. Usually it means it's going to be a 10% drop if it's a 0. So remember, there's going to be 75 questions, really only counting about 70 of them. And this is because, in case I mess up on a question or I key a question wrong, it doesn't affect your grade. Maybe I missed Q1. You've seen this on plenty of like quizzes and things like that. We're all human. So again, that's why I'm throwing in those extra. Is it possible to get more than 100%? Yeah, but not likely. But it you can miss 5 questions and basically still get 100%. So what happens if this person got like a perfect score? Then we're looking like a 94. But this person was kind of already at, like, if I take this out, this person was already at a 92. Again, it's about averages. So if they get a 92 on the final, they basically maintain their 92. If they get slightly higher, so again, let's say 100%, so a 70, right? Then it moves it up. So it's higher than their average, but it doesn't give them 100% in the class. So something like that. Again, theoretically, could they get a 75 and move it up to a 95? Yeah, but, a little unlikely. Now, keep in mind, this does not include the extra credit that you've stored up. So let's just say this person scores a 70 and they're like, oh man, I'm at a 94. How do I get to an A+, which is kind of that 95 category? Well, remember, you got that stored extra credit. I'm going to dump it into the categories after your final. Now, people always worry about, worst case scenario, you get a 0, you're going to have this huge 10% drop. Even with the extra credit, you're really far away, blah, 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 blah. So, because it's been a difficult year on all of us, okay, not going to do this next semester. So, this is a one semester kind of getting you back from COVID, right? Most of you done an incredible job, by the way. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to basically set a floor that is 10% of your average test score. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So let's just say this person's average test score is 86%. It doesn't mean the floor is 86%. 0.3, basically 86%. It means their floor is going to be 76. So because if I say they're like, oh, you can't score lower than your average, then people just kind of YOLO the final. It can still bring down your grade, okay? But it won't be lower than 10% below your average test grade. So again, here's what I mean by that. This person, let's say they're at a 70, right? Let's just say they bomb it and they get, I don't know, only 30 questions. That's well below their average. So I'm going to scale it up. So I'm going to say, okay, so 70 times, I want to say it was 0.76. Again, this is 10% less than their average, which means I'll give them a 53. So I'll come back. And I'll change this into a 53 because it's 10% lower. So yes, their grade, like if you notice, their grade does go down, but it's not so much that it tanks their grade. Okay. But this person had a pretty high average to begin with in 86%. Let's just say this person's average test and quiz category was 60%. Let's just say was 60%. So that means that the lowest that I'm going to give them is a 50%, so they would get a 35. So again, this is that person with a 60% average. They bomb the final. Then I will give them a 35. Now, they have to be here for the final. So if you're like, well, I just won't show up to the final, take the 0 and just give me my average. No, you have to take the final. Okay, have to take the final. So like if their average was, that, then, they'd still be around a B. Again, it's not going to tank their grade all the way down to the 81%. So just because, like I said, we've had a tough year coming back from COVID, most of you have done an incredible job, but still, I know there's some people out there who are like, oh man, that anxiety of like, is the final going to drag my grade down 10%? Again, it's at the most, it's going to be 10% lower than your average test score. So hopefully that helps.